Okay, welcome to part 2 of how to rig for fitted mesh and adjust the weights. For sake of time, I've opened a file that I've been working on. These weights are not perfect, they're not completed, but it's probably about 80-90% done. But I thought it'd be important for you to see this next step, because what's really important is, yeah, you can adjust the weights so that they respond to the sliders really pretty well, like they do here. Like I said, you're going to be wearing an alpha. Every single piece of mesh clothing will probably have an alpha that you have to wear. And so if you had an alpha, this little poke through wouldn't be an issue. And so one of the biggest things that I figured out while I was creating this update was that it's really super important to see how the mesh moves in Second Life when your avatar moves. That it's really you have to try to come up to a balance between how does the mesh respond to the sliders and how does the mesh move, because something can look great when it's standing still and you're changing the sliders in the T-pose, position, or on the avatar editing avatar appearance pose, which is like an A pose. But then once the mesh avatar starts to move, the mesh clothing can basically fall apart and not look good at all. So it's, especially around the pelvis area, it gets really tricky as far as trying to come up with a balance between how it moves and how it responds to the avatar appearance editor sliders when the avatar changes shape. So I realized that you need to see the avatar moving and the clothes moving in Maya, so you can see what's going on. So in MayaStar, I added this new section called Animation and Poses, and I'm just going to tear it off, and I'm going to select female walk and hit the play pause button. And overall you see the mesh clothing moves fairly well. There's a little issue back here with some poke through that really it would be covered up by an alpha. So if you can get it to this stage, you're doing pretty good. I could play with this some more to try to decrease this poke through a bit more. There's a little bit of poke through to the side here that I would probably adjust for a little bit more, although an alpha would still cover that. The side is doing a lot better. So it is possible to get this side better. And while your avatar is moving, you can actually change the sliders to see how well they respond. You can see how you can go down to about here, and with an alpha that would not be really an issue. It's always good to go into wireframe mode and try to spot any vertices that are moving unusually, and sometimes it's better to actually have I'm going to go back to the default mesh. Sometimes it's actually better to have a texture applied to it. So I already have a texture for this, mesh top texture, and then let's go back to animation and start the animation again, and let's turn off wireframe unshaded. These vertical changes are actually just a glitch in Maya, not MayaStar, but Maya. But you can see right here we're getting a little bit of weirdness with right there. And if we go to wireframe unshaded, you can really point out that there's one vertice right here. Let me see if I can't stop it when it's, yeah, see, it's this vertice right here. It needs to be weighted so it's more between these two. So that's why you really want to be able to see your avatar moving. So you can leave the avatar there and then go into Paint Skin Weights tool, and you could go in here and you could adjust the weights, you know, for just this vertice, or come in here and do some painting, and you can actually even do painting while the avatar is moving. If some people might find that that's a bit more effective, like see, you can actually paint the skin weights while the avatar is actually moving. So let's see, and yeah. So anyway, so that's just another thing that you can do while the avatar is moving. Like I said, it's really, really important to see the avatar moving, so you can really see where the issues are. Oh, that's why I hadn't applied the, yeah, see, there you go. It didn't make any, because this was at the default position of 50, and I started to paint the weights, the mesh didn't move any because the scales hadn't changed from their default position. So when I apply the brush size, you saw that it did actually affect the mesh's position as we change the weights. And so you could do the same thing here, and play it and stop it in a different spot. Or that's why I say sometimes it's good just to have the avatar actually moving when you're doing it, so you can go, okay, I gotta do it over here, now I have to do it over here, and adjust the weights there, and you kind of look around to find if there's anything else, and so let's get out of paint skin. Well, let's leave it here. So you'll notice that unfortunately fitted mesh is never going to be a one-size-fits-all. At least I haven't been able to paint any weights, because you have this give and take between how the weights affect the sliders. The sliders affect the mesh by adjusting the weights. It's also affecting, you're changing the weights to fix how it moves. And so you're trying to do two things at once, and so you can't do either one of them 100% great because of that. And you also have to remember that the avatar itself does not change shape primarily. Only like the head and the hands and the feet change shape by the bone actually changing, the normal bone changing the scale. Everything else, most of the other changes in the shape of the avatar, the breasts, the hips, the saddlebags, the musculature, that's all done with blend shapes. And the blend shapes don't change their shape by changing, scaling up vertices bigger or smaller. They actually resculpt the avatar. Like the male avatar is actually, what they did is they took the female avatar as a base and they resculpted it into a male shape, and then they created a blend shape from that new shape to the default avatar shape. So the real default avatar in Second Life is female, not male. So you can see how no way can you scale a female avatar using just scaling methods to create a male shape with just changing the scales on the bones. It's just impossible to do it that way. You can get really close with changing, with fitted mesh, with changing, and probably get to a point where it's good enough and it looks okay and it looks nice, but it won't ever actually follow the shape of the actual avatar itself. So let's see. So the next section, what do we need to do? Okay, so you're happy with, and I might have to do a part 3 because we only have 5 minutes left, and I think we're going to have to do a part 3. So and I was going to show you, if we were to go to a large female, you can see how it really falls apart right there. The breasts aren't too bad. The back really looks bad. So there's some major repainting there that we would have to do. The belly, because the large female has a little bit of belly added to her, you would have to come in here and let me get this out of the way. You'd have to come in here and pick the belly bone. Yeah, is that the belly bone? Yes, that's the belly bone. And you'd have to increase the influence of the belly bone just a little bit to try to have less of an issue there. You know, so you would do that, you know, and of course you would smooth it, you know, you know, to try to get it better, and so you can see the process. But overall, if we were to go to the default avatar shape and we were to, like, say, come down here to the love handles, you know, you can see that the love handles look pretty good. They do start to show some poke through. You know, like I say, nothing's ever going to be 100%. Like I said, I was talking to a really well-known designer last night, and like I said, she's going to do probably 3 sizes of fitted mesh, weighted for the extremes. You don't actually change the shape of the mesh itself. You weight it to the extremes, and so the next step is after you get done and you're happy with your weights. And I see we only got about 3 minutes left, so I think I'm going to stop here and go on to the next section for how to export your rigged mesh out as a DAE file. You have to jump through a couple of hoops to get it. It's not really it's not a fault of MayaStar. It may be an issue with the DAE exporter for Maya, or it might actually be the import script that Linden Lab uses, which may be the problem. I don't know if there's the same problem with Blender does the same thing. I know MayaStar takes great pains, and they worked a lot with writing code that does a lot of things for you automatically. So that might be that MayaStar may have included code written in to MayaStar to compensate for some of these things automatically for you. I was not able to write a code to do that. I might be able to figure it out in the future, and maybe that will be an update in the future, but for right now you'll have to do it manually. And it's kind of good that you know what's going on so that you can see what's going on. It may be just simply that newer versions of Maya don't have this issue, or it may be that all Mayas have this issue, or all mesh uploading really has this issue, maybe for fitted mesh, but I'm not 100% sure. So anyway, so I'll see you in part 3, and it will be the final part that shows you how to export out the DAE file for fitted mesh. So we will see you there.